Welcome to Tech Talk Show. Today with us we have Mr. Komal Mehrotra, Head of the Humanities and Social Sciences Department, KIET Group of Institutions. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
Another thing that I would like to ask, to what extent the personality and behavior of the interviewer impact the interview?
As far as again, I'll talk about my experience of more than 25 years and the people that I have seen. And if I talk about my first interview or my interviews as a fresher, I took 23 attempts to crack my first job. Right. So I cracked my first job when I got my the chance as the 24th interview. Right. So I have been able to identify three major types of interviewers up till now. One is that friendly interviewer who makes the candidate extremely comfortable. How are you? So how has your day been? I hope there were no problems coming for the interview. So would you like to have a glass of water? Right. So all these types of very making him or her very comfortable as a candidate. Now, the major thing that we need to remember about these friendly interviewers is that they tend to just beat about the bush. They will not ask you relevant questions. So you need to bring them back to track. If you have given your introduction and you have talked something about your hobbies, for example, maybe you are saying listening to music is my hobby, right? Or maybe singing is my hobby. So he'll start asking questions related to that. You are sitting for a IT company and the person asking you questions is asking you questions about singing songs and music. So how to bring him or her back to track? So why can't you take this, or maybe again show your confidence? Sir, I would definitely like to be a participant in the singing and dancing competitions when I get a chance to be a part of your company. And to be a part of your company, I think I have these skills. So highlight your skills. Become direct the interview towards your strengths. That is how we approach these friendly interviewers. The second type of interviewer, a know-it-all person, a professor, right? Nothing against academicians, but a know-it-all interviewer.
Can I know everything?
Yes, tell me something new. The candidate before you has already told me all this, that he is a hard worker, he is punctual, he is creative, etc., etc. So, what are you telling me? There is nothing new that you are telling me. So, when you meet such a person, so what do you how do you handle these people, right? Definitely, sir. The candidate who has gone before me is also a very good candidate, but there is definitely one unique quality in everyone. And my unique quality is now come to your quality. That is how we handle these type of interviewers.
So this personal quality can be related to technical or
Yes,
something?
yes. It can be technical as well as a personal quality.
Okay.
So it doesn't need to be anything.
So both are having equal weightage.
Equal weightage. Now, then we come to the third interviewer, and that is a well structured professional interviewer. He has got already a list of questions prepared. He knows that he is going to ask this certain set of questions to every candidate, right? And he has got a scoring sheet, a evaluating sheet along with him. He just as the candidate answers, he is noting down his remarks, and this is perhaps the best type of interviewer.
Okay, so I thought that it is the most difficult type.
No, it is perhaps the best.
Best.
Because that person is evaluating you then and there. He or she is not waiting for you to go out and then maybe make some comments, etc. Why is it so? It is so because so many interviews he or she has taken, the ideas tend to get mixed up. If we even allow a break of 2 to 5 minutes during interviews, right, he will tend to forget, right? This candidate said what, and this candidate said what to this particular question.
Of course.
Right. So this person, the professional interviewer, is perhaps the best interviewer that you can face.
Okay. So we have talked about types of interviews and interviewers. Now, what should be the interview preparation process? What should candidate do before going to an interview and during an interview? What kind of the preparation? What things a candidate must keep with them while going for the interview?
Definitely a very relevant question. Uh, so the interview process as such can be divided into three parts: before, during, and after.
Yeah,
So if we talk about the before, it starts with your preparation of your portfolio, your document file.
yes.
What do we need to keep in it? That's the first thing that should be there in every fresher's mind. Of course, minimum of 5 copies of your resume. That's a must, right? Then a blank pad or maybe a few A4 sheet pages. Because if you are asked to write down something at that particular moment, you should have something to write. You should not be asking for a paper from them,
Definitely.
right? A mini stapler, a glue stick, at least 5 photographs of yours, right? References on a separate sheet of paper. Anywhere that you have worked, maybe done an internship or summer training, get one reference from there, one reference from your college, from wherein you have studied. All these things will help you, right? Then, of course, a good quality pen. Yes.
It should
So,
not stop in between.
yes. So, and of course, one government ID proof,
Okay.
because all these things are mandatory to be kept in your portfolio. And then certificates, all your certificates arranged in the reverse chronological order with the latest coming on top, and at least one set of photocopies of all your certificates as well.
Okay.
So that is your portfolio, your document file.
So this is the preparation before.
Much before,
Much
much
before
before,
that. Okay.
at least 3-4 days before you have to appear for the interview, so that even if you miss out something, maybe you can ask and consult your friends or
Definitely.
teachers that have I missed out something, and I you can put it back together. Then, of course, second thing, searching the company website
Okay.
and reading its annual general body meeting report. Extremely essential. Why? Because we get to know what is the vision of the company in the coming years, right? And apart from that, you also get to know its progress, or has there been some downfall in the company in the previous 5 years. For example, what should we know about the company? Who, of course, the chairman and CEO of the company.
Definitely.
Definitely. Turnover of the company. What are its major products and
Products and
services which
services.
are in offer? What are the verticals it is working on? For example, if we talk about these IT recruiters, the mass IT recruiters, TCS, Infosys, etc. So TCS is working in 19 verticals.
Definitely.
But then also, a mechanical engineer gets confused that why should I apply in TCS? TCS is also working for the power and energy sector. TCS is also providing solutions to the automobile sector. So, a mechanical engineer would be required over there. But it is not clear.
Most of the time, students think that okay, they are going for the IT job.
Yes.
Although it is not like that.
Right. Now, the third thing is, of course, rehearsing and practicing. The more you rehearse and the more you practice, the better you become. Right.
So how they can do this mock interview with their friends or with their family members?
The ideal people would be their seniors. The
Yeah,
final year seniors who have already been placed somewhere, they can help their pre-final year students by taking their mock interviews, because that person has, it's peer-to-peer learning. That person has just appeared for the interview. Right. People like us, although we have got rich experience behind us, but the thing is that we have left that particular area quite a few years back. And if a student is just appeared for the interview, he or she would be able to guide the next lot of students very well. So peer learning would be highly advisable
So
from
your
my side.
seniors or your friend just appear to an interview, they
They are
may
the
help for
yes.
your preparation.
Definitely, definitely. So rehearse with them. So practice, practice, and practice.
So this all is before the interview. Now
This
if we
is-
discuss about the during the interview.
Now we come to the D day, just before the interview. Just before.
Just before the.
So, what do we keep in mind? Let's keep in mind, start from the appearance. An appearance from head to toe. Right. So, of course, it's going to be different for boys and girls. Right. So, well, we'll start with the boys first. So, appearance. Well groomed, tidy hair. Right. No loose strands coming on your face. Extremely essential. Uh, for example, if you are going to sit for the interview during September, it's hot and humid. At least in India, it's hot and humid. So what happens? The fan is circulating above your head, right? And if your hair is not well kept, because of the fan's air, your strands keep on coming in front of your forehead or eye. Again, bad impression. Right? So first thing starts from here. Then our face. Right? Facial expressions. Cheerful. Have a smile on your face. It reflects energy. And no company would like unenergetic people.
Definitely.
So energy, right? Smile. Then there is another question in the mind of the boys. Can we keep beards? Yes, of course. You are allowed to keep beards. It's always not necessary to be clean shaven. But the thing is that the beard should be well trimmed and shaped.
Yes.
It cannot be a jungle growing on your face. Right? So that is the thing that you need to remember. Then we come to the shirt. Right? A wingtip collar shirt, not a Nehru collar or China collar or something else. A wingtip collar shirt, right? As you are wearing, that is advised. If it is comfortable to you and it is winter season, ties are definitely going to be advantageous.
Okay.
Right? And then the color of the shirt, it is always better to go with plain solid pastel shades rather than um, any other bright color or checks. Pin stripes are allowed as far as a little shading, etc., is concerned. Pin stripes only, not bold stripes, no checks. And full sleeve shirts only, no half shirts. Half shirts are considered to be casual. Even if they are plain, they are considered to be casual. Now, coming to your belt. Uh, the color of the belt and the color of the shoe should match. Please remember that. You cannot have a different colored belt and a different colored shoe. Brown belt with black shoe or black belt with brown shoe is not going to work. It has to be the same. Right? Buckles of the belts should be subtle. They should not be something like Salman Khan's big S on the belt buckle. Right? They should be subtle. Then color of the trouser, again solid colors and dark. Light and dark combinations are the best as far as appearance goes. And then the socks. The color of the socks should match the color of the trouser, not the color of the shoe. Right. So this is about attire. Now coming to the accessories a little bit. Right. If you are wearing specs, it's always better to be conservative about your spectacles. Go with blacks, grays, and blues. Steel frames, or maybe oxidized metal frames. But no goldens, pinks, reds, etc., etc. Right, all these colors are not advised as far as formal interviews are concerned. Then, wearing of perfumes and deodorants, extremely essential in hot and humid countries like ours. Uh, that fine perfume of gives you a fresh feeling, but please don't overdo it.
Yes.
Right. And there is one more thing. Because we are a hot and humid country, we tend to sweat. And especially this T zone, this and this. Over here, there is a lot of tendency of sweating in the T zone amongst Indians. So, you can always use a roll-on deodorant to clog the pores over here so that you don't sweat on the forehead and your nose. Right? It will clog the pores and you will not sweat, because sweating in front of the interviewer gives this particular feeling that he or she is nervous.
Nervous, yes.
Right? So then, of course, coming to the girls, again, same thing. Hairs well kept, no loose strands coming on the face, right? Western formals and Indian formals, both are allowed, no problems in that, right? If we talk about the makeup part, it's always better to keep it conservative, avoid makeup, right? And one more thing about these armlets and watches and tops, etc. Right? No, nothing hanging. You can wear rings and tops, but they should not be danglers. Right? Another thing, watches or these bracelets, they should be tight. They should not move about in the hand and make a sound. It's always better to go with leather strap watches for both boys and girls rather than metal watches, because metal watches tend to make some noise whenever you move your hand. Right? If you keep it on the table of the interviewer, so again it can cause clank, clink sound. So all this can be avoided. Right? And of course the shoes. Please avoid clickety clack shoes. There should not be any sound coming out of the shoe. That is extremely, extremely necessary to remember for both boys and girls.
So it means to be ready for interview is more difficult part than if a candidate is getting ready for any party or function.
Definitely, because for a party or function, it is your family. They are people known to you. But over here, you have to impress an unknown person.
Definitely.
Right? You are going on a blind date. Exactly, it is that situation.
So it means it's
Right?
again appearance is a very important part.
Very
So
necessary.
this is just a day before and just
This is on the D-Day. On the D-Day.
and while we are into the interview, then
Of course, this appearance part is already done. Now you are going to enter the cabin. Now we'll come to two types of situations. One is that you are in an on campus drive and you have got other student coordinators who are already coordinating the coming and going of the students from particular interviewers' cabins. Over there, you don't need to knock and enter. But if you are in a situation where you have to knock and enter, so please knock and then open the whole gate. Present your whole body in front of the interviewer and say, "May I come in, sir?" Or "Ma'am," whosoever is sitting. A very common mistake that is seen is that just people put in their faces and peep. "May I come in?"
may I come in? Yes.
That should not be done.
That should not be done.
That gives an extremely wrong impression. Then, as far as interviews are concerned, we normally get 6 to 8 steps to come to the chair wherein we'll be sitting and giving the interview. So maintain a erect posture, have a smile on your face, right, and then come. When you are near the chair, good morning everyone. Yeah, good afternoon everyone, or good evening everyone. But please not good morning sir, good morning ma'am, good morning sir. No wishing separate panel members separately. It has to be wishing everyone at one go. That's another mistake that people tend to do. Right? Then wait for 10 to 15 seconds. If they don't ask you to sit down on the chair, then take permission. May I have a seat? Then sit. Right? Just don't enter and sit.
And sit.
Right?
Definitely.
That is extremely important. Then, keeping your portfolio file. The desk of the interviewer is enemy territory. It is enemy territory. Please remember that. You have to keep your documents, your hands, everything in your lap. Alright? Now, the next step. He or she may ask you for a CV, right? Or maybe any document. So, what is a difference between well organized person and a poorly organized person? You are going to open the zip in front of the interviewer. Krrr, that is going to be a wrong impression. You need to have opened your portfolio file outside the door before entering.
That's a great tip.
Right. Then when they ask for a particular document, maybe your CV, just take out and give the CV. Another mistake that I have seen students committing is that they just open the document file and give it. That should not be done. They have asked you for a particular document, you should be giving only a particular document, not the whole file.
Whole file, yes.
Not required.
And you
Right.
should also know the order of the document so that you can
Definitely.
quickly.
Again, that's why I said reverse chronological order. So you remember, right? 2020 on top, right? And then reverse arranged. So you will remember what is there.
What is there? Yes.
Right. Now, of course, you have already asked the first question. Tell me something about yourself.
Yeah, already
So
you have
we have
mentioned.
already said that it should be answered a little creatively, not in the same boring way. Right. So, what else can I share with you now?
It means that already we have discussed so many things. So, okay, while interviewing for which type of interview candidate is going, they must prepare the question and answers accordingly.
Right.
So, fine. So, this is, and what about the after the interview?
Yes. If we just continue this part of the during the interview, there are two more questions. In fact, right? Why should we hire you? And why only you and not someone else? Right. So these three are the major questions as far as the HR interview, the human resource interview, or the working environment fit interview goes. Right. So until and unless you have been able to link your qualities and skills with the requirement of the company, you cannot answer these questions. That means again that researching the company well before the interview happens is extremely necessary. If you are not able to link your skills and qualities with the requirement of the company, you will never be selected.
It means knowing your job description is again very important.
Very important. Very important.
Because most of the students also make mistake about their JDs.
Yes. They even they may not go through it completely. Right. So let's take for example a profile like financial analyst for a BTech mechanical engineer. Now, why do they ask for such profiles? He or she is a mechanical engineer. Why are you taking a mechanical engineer for a financial analyst position? The thing is that mechanical engineers are supposed to have a good problem solving abilities. They need to be analytical by nature, because of the course that they have studied. That is why they are preferred even in an analyst profile.
Yes.
Right. Then we have another thing that comes to mind is there are at the end of the interview or before the end of the interview, the interviewer may give you a chance to ask questions. Then what should you ask? Please never ask about extra facilities or about the pay scale.
Okay.
What you can ask for is that how is performance appraisal done in the company? How soon do I expect to grow to the next level? Is there any higher education policy that the company follows? All these questions show your interest in the company as well as your growth. So you are showing mutual growth. That if you grow, you will also take the company along with it. So that is what you need to ask. Right.
And now, what about the after interview?
After the interview, we have got the major thing is follow up. Again, I'll come to the two types of interviews, off campus and on campus. If it is an on campus interview, students or candidates normally do not need to follow up because that job is done by the placement officers. Right, because they keep on following the companies that when do we get the results and how many candidates have been selected, etc. That is done by the placement officers. But if you have appeared for an off campus drive, then it is advisable to either write a mail or a letter within 72 hours inquiring about the next step.
And thanking
And
also.
of course, thanking. Thanks is obviously
Yeah,
going to be
obviously.
there.
Fine.
Right. So I hope this has been an informative session
Definitely,
regarding
definitely,
interviews.
definitely. What kind of the role do confidence and communication, or we can soft skills play in an interview? Because as we already discussed so many things related to group discussions, appearance, and what about the communication skill?
Communication, of course, is extremely important. Communication, not only verbal communication, but non-verbal communication as well. Why? Because maintenance of eye contact shows that you are a confident person. If you tend to waver your eye contact, look here, there, up, down, break eye contact very frequently, then that shows that you are insecure and you lack confidence. So, maintenance of eye contact, extreme importance during the interview. Then, your choice of words, it shows that you have got the words to express yourself well. Again, I'll come back to the first question, that tell me something about yourself or introduce yourself. If you have answered that creatively, half of the interview you have already won.
And what about the volume? It should not be so high, and it should not be.
Again, yes, again, depending on the size of the room as well.
Okay.
If it is a big room, right, and if it is a small room, you need to check your volume. If it's a big room, there can be some echo in the room. So you need to control your tone, right, your volume, your pitch. So all these things play extreme importance. Then fidgeting about. Many people have got psychosomatic habits of shaking their legs or maybe cracking their fingers or something like this. All these things need to be controlled. Pen comes out there in the hand of the candidate, starts doing like this. All right, all this should not be done. All these are non-verbal gestures which show that you have become insecure during the interview. You want to get out of that situation.
And what about that if a candidate is not sure about the answer, or
Right.
a candidate is thinking about the answer? So at that particular time, which kind of the body language a candidate should maintain?
Throughout the 15-20 minutes that is given to you for an interview, you should be able to maintain an erect posture. That is the first thing. Have a smile on your face, and it is also clear that you are not expected to answer 100% of the questions. No one knows everything.
Definitely.
Right. But it is an expectation from the point of the interviewer that at least he or she, as a candidate, should be able to answer 70% of the questions.
If
Now,
it means if
if for example, a particular question is asked and you are totally unaware of it, rather than saying a point blank no, sir, sorry, sir, I don't know the answer. It's always better to say, presently I am unaware, but I would definitely find out about it by the time we meet next.
yes.
Right? So there are better ways of putting up the same thing. And that is what is soft skills all about.
Soft skills are about, okay. So, candidate remain worried about the salary package. So, how they should negotiate if they are worried about this?
Okay. I'll again come to fresher recruitment and experienced person recruitment. As far as freshers are concerned, freshers normally get uh, a salary band which is attached to the job description. So, if they have already gone through the job description, they would be well aware that yes, this particular package is on offer between 3.5 to 4.5 LPA or maybe 6 LPA to 8 LPA. Right. So, that is already made clear to the freshers before going in for the particular interview. So they should normally not talk about the salary package. But if we talk about experienced people going in for senior positions and talking about remuneration package, then of course your negotiation skills come into play. How much you are getting presently and how much growth you expect because of the senior position that you are applying to. That in itself should be linked to the skills and benefits that you can offer to that particular company. If you are really offering something which is very good to the company, of course, you can ask for a higher raise. But if you are just having some additional skills which will help the company maybe by 10% or 5%, you can ask for only that 5 or 10%. So you need to be realistic about it.
So, sir, now the last one. When and how to follow up after an interview? As already you mentioned, ki within 72 hours, we should just send a thanking mail. And
Yes.
what other things a candidate can follow?
If you have appeared for an off campus drive, of course, you need to follow up. But you also need to remember this one particular aspect, that that particular company is recruiting from how many places. If that particular company is visiting 10 more campuses for recruitment, or maybe has got 10 more days to go, wherein their whole recruitment process will end, so the candidate needs to be aware of this, because following up after the third day is not going to be useful then, because they will be sorting the final candidates only once they have finished the whole process of recruitment for a particular region. That is what we need to be aware of, right? So maybe 15 days time at the maximum you can wait before shooting an email which says thank you, as well as I would like to know your response.
And they should also check out their emails and the
Definitely.
SMS, whether they
Definitely.
have been some emails or some sort of messages from the interviewer.
Definitely. Definitely.
So, thank you so much, sir. Here were the some tips and tricks to crack interview. Stay tuned for more such videos.